Hello, everyone, and welcome to Twillow Talk. I'm Tanys Coughlan from the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Jennifer Jurkofsky.
Hello, hello, hello.
We're glad to have you all here.
Yeah.
It's a day.
It's a day.
It's a week.
It's a week, and it's just starting.
So it is just Jen and I today. Surprise!
I know, right?
So we're just going to chat and have fun. That's what today's about. We're just going to have fun.
It's been a while since it's been just the two of us.
It has. We have been blessed with so many amazing guests.
Amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah, very much so. So welcome to those of you that are watching. I know we have Nalani. Hey, Hypnocity.
Hello.
Hello. And we have Pogo. Kaylee. Hey, Kaylee. Yes.
It's a day, week, month, year, decade, millennia. I don't know. I think I skipped century. Whatever.
It's okay. And we have YT Social. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Awesome. Absolutely. We have lots of interesting energy.
It's been wild. Absolutely wild.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, YT Social.
Aw, yes. Thank you.
Please do subscribe and like and hit the bell. And hello, Christopher. Welcome. Hello.
The Ottawa Valley. Nice night.
Awesome.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's been a day. Today's a comfy pants and a big old baggy sweatshirt kind of day, because I tell you.
Yeah. It's a curl up with a blanket, read a book, have a cup of tea kind of day.
And yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about why. Should we talk about why? So, okay, we'll move into the weather forecast for our show, or for this particular time. We have this cool thing now where it's one click. I love it. Upgrades to StreamYard. Here we are. All right. So here you'll see this is our solar flare activity. No, not a whole lot of solar flares, which is interesting. Okay. But you will notice here, which of course, once it gets down to there, we have coronal holes facing Earth today. And what that means is basically there's an increased chance that we can have a coronal mass ejection. And Jen was having fun with what it was like earlier. Or solar flare, which is, go ahead, tell them, Jen.
I said the sun is farting at us.
So solar flare is a fart. So yes, so we have that happening at the moment. And we have a strong G3 geometric storm watch. That was for yesterday, the 23rd. So when we look at the KP index, it's not bad today. But the Schumann has the Schumann has been over 50. So that means that we've been feeling it, right? So the Schumann is related to the vibrational pull of the earth. It's usually 7.8 hertz. So when we're up at over 50, which we've 62, I think right now we're at 60. We've had a bunch of them. See here, we've had these little not solar flares, Schumann flares. And we also have, I've got my mind stuck on solar flares. Thanks, Jen. Okay.
So like corona holes, right? It's a region that opens with a unimagnetic field, which is where we get all the neutrino stuff, right? Yes. Add a little bit of solar wind and things escape more rapidly into space. I mean, it really kind of is like the sun is
passing gas at us, because it is. So, and those neutrinos are what lead us to your transits. Let's just say hello to Living Radiance first before we go.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Yeah, so we are currently and just entering into the gate 17. So this is the energy that moves us from the shadow of opinion to the siddhi of omniscience through the gift of farsightedness, which of course, you know, I always open the cards, and then today I'm telling you, we're all over the place because I'm somewhere else. I didn't even pull out my card. Here we go.
Shall I ground you, Jen?
It's been a day. All right. So here is our 17, right? And so 17 is the gate of opinions or the gate of following. And it's about being grounded in detail, right? And so just kind of noticing what might be coming up for you in this energy, right? From the shadow, you know, we might get a little overly opinionated. It might make us a little bit more rigid. And just notice like if this is to like personal or even collective beliefs. Right. So just, you know, am I being rigid? Am I being open? Am I considering alternative perspectives? This is where my open and curious is like so right here with this energy. It's really important to maintain that because this energy can lead to like dogmatism. It can lead to really being stuck in this is just how it is. This is right. That's wrong. That's it. End of discussion. Right. And not really allowing us to be open or to even grow, right? Because we grow when there's challenges and we're able to look at things in different ways and all of that. And so the gift of this energy right now, that foresightedness, it's beautiful because it's this frequency that opens us to what else is possible, right? To being able to shift, to broadening our perspective, and to allowing us to form opinions that are more informed, right? That they're more connected to our intuition. They're more connected to universal wisdom. They're more connected to that, you know, that which is true outside of what the 3D believes is truth, right? So this is a huge piece, especially with everything that we're going through, you know, and the way that the world is and this kind of dogmatic belief of this way or that way and everything else. Like this is a really important energy that's coming through. And the idea is to foster inclusion and understanding, right? To be able to take a lot of this and open to, you know, how can we bring in more harmony and more connection, right? Because at the siddhi level, it's omniscience, and the siddhi is about, you know, moving into the the all-knowing, right? But the all-knowing, not the all-knowing, but the all-knowing, right? That which is all things. And you know, I've quoted it so many times on the show and like all the time anyway, because I just love the Tao. But you know, not knowing is true knowledge. Perceiving that we know is a disease. And that's very much the energy of this transit. So just kind of holding space as we move through it for what is possible, what else, right? Like open and curious in that place of wonder, just kind of going, you know, wander. A little bit of both, right? I wonder as I wander. Just that ability to be able to be open to what else is possible and how we can connect through that. Is it that you're muted, or can I just not hear you?
I was muted.
Okay.
So we have Kaylee saying, there's such a good way of saying that, Jen, all-knowing external versus all-knowing internal.
I mean, it was really possible that I just like stopped hearing, so I don't know.
Well, it is a day, but you know. Yeah, no, it was definitely me.
Yeah, exactly. Really, it's that idea of 3D mind versus the cosmic mind. Like what, you know, what we think we know versus what we know we don't know. And then what we don't even know we don't know.
I was going to say, there's way more of what we don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was a saying, part of being smart is knowing what you're dumb at.
Mm-hmm.
So part of being knowing is knowing what you don't know.
Mm-hmm. And knowing that we don't know so much.
Yes, and I think that transit is about that, right? It's about being like open to the fact that you don't know everything, and you can't step into that and be dogmatic, right?
Exactly.
In terms of,
and the more that we recognize that there's other options, right, that we don't necessarily know, and we don't hold to that, the more open we are to that intuitive knowing coming in, the more open we are to having the ability to know what we need to know in any given moment, right? Yeah. But if we get very caught up in this is what I know, then that's the only thing that we really hold space for.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. The more we learn, the more we know we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely been my journey, right? I mean, when I first started, thinking maybe I should teach, I'm like, but I don't know everything. And I'm like, you can't know everything. And of course, the more you start to teach, you realize you really don't know hardly anything, because our brains can only hold like this compared to the vastness. And so, you just jump in, and there's always somebody who knows less than you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we start to, be able to make a difference.
Mm-hmm. There's always people who
if they're open and willing to learn.
There's always different things.
Yeah. But just because we teach one way doesn't mean it's the only way, and it doesn't mean it's right for everybody.
No.
Right?
Well, and that's a beautiful thing, I think, that we've come to see too in, teaching together, because we are very different. Different journeys, different ways of doing things, and being able to, hold space for all of what's possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because our spiritual frameworks are very different.
Mm-hmm.
And yet there's commonalities. And so, it's kind of fun because we bring the different perspectives together in a class when we're doing it. Mm-hmm. And yet we still agree on this piece and this piece and this piece and this piece. And so, follow those pieces and then hear all this other stuff that just makes it interesting. And then people resonate maybe with something that I say, and then with something with what Jen says. And it's beautiful. It's winding itself into a beautiful something. I couldn't find an analogy for winding. It's winding itself into something beautiful.
It's a beautiful unfolding spiral.
Beautiful. Yes. That's it.
I'm still like, I don't know, somewhere there.
Yes, me too.
Stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Two of my favorite quotes: know thyself, and to thine own self be true. You can't be true to yourself unless you know yourself.
Well, I was just going to say, how do you stay true to something if you're not sure who you really are?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it also you true to yourself doesn't mean trying to convert somebody to what you know, or where you come from, or what your beliefs are, or, I've had clients over the years, and either it's the client or a spouse of a client or something, and they come in, and the most interesting one is spouses. And so one of them is really gung-ho, right? And then the other one comes in and they're like, mm-hmm. And I'm like, do you have any questions? Nope. Mm-mm. Or they'll start, sending like, okay, well, what about this? Like, well, what about that? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think that's true. Okay, so that's your truth. Does that need to be my truth? And they're like, oh, no, I guess not. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Most
it's and I'll just say to the other spouse, hey, it's not my job to convert. I'm not here to if mm-hmm. that's their belief system, that's their belief system. And I'm not here to like shatter someone's way of being. That would be very counterproductive to what I try to do.
Exactly. But that is very much the energy right now, right? That ability to be open versus you have to believe the way I believe, and you have to see it the way I see it. And, I think that there's one thing for holding space for what we want in our experience. And we have every, right to say, like, I want this in my experience, or I don't want that in my experience. And then the other person can decide how they want to fall with that. Yeah. But in terms of, belief systems and things like that, I do think that, people have to come to where they're at on their own. Like we can tell them where we're at and what we think, and they have to decide if that's in alignment or not for them.
Does it resonate with you? Because, I'm not for everybody.
Not
everybody. You know what I mean? Not everybody's going to like everybody. Not everybody's going to like everybody. It's just how it is. And yet we want that, of course, especially if we're empaths and people pleasers, right? We want everybody to like us, but it's just not realistic, because everybody has such different frequencies even,
Yeah, it's not actually possible, right? Like if you really look at, let's take the crystalline grid, right? And so there's the crystalline grid that's over the earth, and we're all a part of it. And part of that is, all of the fractals. And not all of the fractals are meant to go together. They're not all meant to connect. They're not all meant to work together or to do things together. And some fractals actually like bounce off of others. And those energies, if we try to force those energies together as much as we want to, it's not going to work if we're not on the same fractal with somebody.
That's right.
Right. And so for those, in that place of like people pleasing and wanting everybody to like them and all of that, like, here's just one more thing that you can blame on the energies.
That's why I do the forecast.
I say
I've had a headache. I'm in a bad mood because...
Yeah, I say that in jest, but the reality is, like, there are certain things that it doesn't matter how much we want it to be a certain way, it's just not meant to. And the more that we're able to come to terms with that, the easier it's going to be for us to be able to move through all of the energies that we have to move through while we're here.
Yeah, for sure. So we have a couple more comments we should take a look at. We have hello. We have Leah. Hey, Leah. Welcome. And Hypnicity says that allowing has become a favorite verb. Very good. That is a good thing.
Love that.
And she had someone say very clearly that if she supported a specific candidate, she wasn't welcome. So that's separation. Right? That's the duality, the polarization that is happening on the earth in so many different ways right now.
Yeah. And that's the piece, right? Like, if somebody is going to be very dogmatic about something, we get to decide if we want that in our energy or not. And I don't mean that we have to convince somebody of something. I mean, we get to decide, like, you know what? If somebody's really rigid, I don't want that energy, and I'm not going to put a lot of effort into maintaining that connection.
And that's okay.
Yeah. And we can hope that they change their mind. We can hope that something, different comes of it, but it's not our job to convince everybody of what our truth is. Everybody has to come to that for themselves. And that can be really, really hard when our truths don't align, especially with people that we care about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's more difficult too, when it's somebody that you care about, because you're. And then you have to decide: can you navigate that and still be okay with that? I mean, if they've put up a boundary around that, then that's it's kind of their loss.
Yeah. I mean, it goes every way, right? Like we we want to be able to say that I only want certain energies around me, and those are the energies I'm choosing to have around me, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I also recognize that that means that if somebody else is choosing that they want something around them that doesn't align with me, that's also okay.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we live, because we're in this 3D world, we're not as connected to the oneness. And we live in, as you said, that duality where there's separation, but there isn't really separation, right? But we experience it in the 3D. And I think that that's a big piece for us that's hard a lot of times to get through, because separation in the 3D, it feels just as heavy as it is.
It pulls up all our abandonment and our rejection wounds and all of that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which is strong for a lot of people, right? Because community is such a key concept. It's what we need. We need community. So
We do. Well, and remember, like, if, you know, we understand that we come from oneness and we return to oneness, but I think that in between time, we forget that we're still part of that oneness.
Yeah.
Right. And we get very caught up in trying so hard to connect with it through, you know, different friendships, relationships, family, whatever it is, not realizing that we are a part of it.
Yeah. Okay. How can you ascend when bitterness is holding us down?
Great
So
question.
that's where you're allowing
Mm-hmm.
and forgiveness and compassion. Because remember, when somebody's putting up those kinds of boundaries, it's their wounding, right? Just like it's ours when we have a specific thing where we put a boundary. It's usually around something that's happened to us or for us, and in our experience, and we're like, okay, I've done that, been there, done that. I don't want to do it again because I've learned that lesson already. So I'm going to put boundary here. And so, you know, they might be doing that. There's probably a fear underlying whatever their boundary is about because of past experiences. So I guess if we can look at it from that standpoint and understand that if someone's in fear, they need compassion, right? And I don't know, from my perspective, it makes it easier to move into forgiveness and allowing, if we can understand that everybody acts out of their programming and their previous experience, fears, and all of that stuff.
Well, it allows us not to take it personally, right? With bitterness, I have a special relationship with bitterness as a projector. That's our not self theme. So very, very familiar with bitterness. And one of the things that in human design we talk about with bitterness is that bitterness is there to show us that we're using our energy inappropriately. We're acting out of alignment. And so if bitterness is showing up for you, right, this idea of how can you ascend when bitterness is holding you down? Well, bitterness is holding us down if we're holding on to it, right? So dive deep and kind of go, okay, what is this bitterness here to tell me? What am I feeling bitter about? And so often that bitterness shows up when we're not being received, right? When whatever it is that we're trying to do, whatever it is that we're putting our energy into, isn't being received in the way that we want it to be received, right? And so the way that we can ascend or transcend bitterness in this is being able to recognize what is going on inside of us in that moment, because ultimately that's what's holding us down. Right? We're trying to put our energy into something or someone, and they don't want to receive it. And that's really hard. But if we can recognize, okay, this person isn't receiving this, and I can't keep putting my energy into it because I keep ending up in this bitter place. I'm acting out of alignment for what is correct for me by trying to make this be something that it's not. And I know that that's really hard. And I say that having lived it many times over, right? And knowing that it's still a work in progress. But I also know from experience that the more that we're able to release that need to make things be a certain way, the more that bitterness does recede, and the more we're able to step into another way of being.
So it's those darn expectations again.
Right.
Right? We expect things to be a certain way. We want an expected outcome. And so if we can release our expectation around whatever the outcome is supposed to be, according to us, then we can flow with it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And we can have more compassion for the situation as a whole, and compassion for us. Like, it's not just about compassion for the other person, right? We can have compassion for them because they're I'm going to go back to the boundary thing, right? So they're putting up a boundary because of their fears. So we can have compassion over that, but let's also have compassion for ourselves in this situation in terms of what do we need in order to, maneuver it and be okay with however the situation turns out.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. It's, it's always an interesting energy, because the more that we self-reflect, the more we come back into, okay, what is happening with me in this moment? Even if somebody's putting up a boundary, right? If I'm triggered by that, I need to look at that.
Yeah.
Right. Just
that's
like
our reaction. That's the problem, right?
Triggered by our boundary.
Yes.
Not our job to fix that.
Exactly.
Right? They need to look at that as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Welcome, Lauren. Thank you for joining us. Great to see you here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that in answer to your question there, Nalani, I think it's really about allowing compassion for everyone involved and releasing that bitterness through forgiveness and stuff, right? We always talk about the Ho'oponopono and how that's a great way to sort of step into or feel into the forgiveness around the situation, because we are all connected. So it's that is part of the work, the great work, right? That spiritual path, all about learning. Healing is learning.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I've read this before, I think, for you guys, like a while back, but I feel like it bears repeating. Do you remember me sharing, Tanys, the donkey and the tiger story?
Oh, a while back, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The donkey said to the tiger, "The grass is blue." The tiger replied, "No, the grass is green." The discussion heated up, and the two of them decided to go before the lion, the king of the jungle. The donkey began to shout as he approached the lion, "Your Highness, is it true? Is it true that the grass is blue?" And the lion replied, "If you believe it's true, then the grass must be blue." The donkey continued, "Oh, the tiger, he distresses me, he contradicts me, he annoys me. Please punish him." So the king declared that the tiger would be punished with 3 days of silence. The donkey is cheerfully jumping away. "The grass is blue, the grass is blue," and off he goes. The tiger, of course, has to accept his punishment, but before he can leave, he has to ask the lion, "Why on earth are you punishing me? After all, the grass is green." And the lion replied, "Yes, in fact, the grass is green." And the tiger said, "So why are you punishing me?" And the lion replied, "That has nothing to do with the question of whether or not the grass is blue or green. The punishment is because it is not logical for an intelligent creature like you to waste your time arguing with a donkey. And on top of that, you came to bother me with a question that you already knew was true."
Fascinating. Yes.
Right. But the idea...
It's all about perspective, right? Perception.
Well, yeah, but it's also about, just because somebody else doesn't believe our truth doesn't make it less true.
Yes.
And just because somebody else doesn't want to hear our truth doesn't mean that it has to change what that is for us. Okay? So really the big piece with this story is, like, why are we fighting so much to convince other people of things that we hold as true within ourselves? If we really hold them as truth within ourselves, believe it, don't believe it, I don't care. this is my truth and I'm going to honor it. You honor your truth. That's fine. I don't have to fight with you about it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't impact my truth in any way because you believe something else to be true.
It's true. Kaylee says, it's like you two are intuitive or something. Been struggling with this concept with people recently, feeling frustrated and bitter for sure. Thank you both.
It's in the transit. It's in the energy right now.
The energy. We are kind of intuitive, but we didn't need to be for this one. I surrender to the most benevolent outcome. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That is tough to do, but it is very needed at the moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A big hello to Maria. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
We're not actually doing questions today. This is Twillow Talk. So we have conversation around spiritual topics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what, well, we wish you luck on your exam.
Yeah, having a difficult mentor. It's and the energy again right now, just notice, right? Like, I know we're not doing questions and it's not going to be a yes or no in this. We're not pulling cards or anything like that either. But, the kind of question here too about like this difficult mentor and wondering if you're going to pass, feel into the energy right now, because as we're talking about it, right, it is this energy of opinions. And so we may be butting heads with people and we may be having a difficult time. And that can impact, things that we're studying or tests that we're going to go to. And I think that it's so important what we were just talking about, this idea of honoring our truth and staying with what that is. Because, if you're, we have an exam or something like that, the biggest piece of that is, did I do what I needed to do to prepare myself for this, regardless of what somebody else is doing, how they're being, whatever else. And as long as you're honoring that, right, then you can go into it with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I second Fogo Kaylee there. Best of luck on your exam. We'll send you lots of light and love for it, for
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah, for sure. Beautiful. Do you guys have any other? Our pleasure, Maria. Do you have anything else? Aw, thanks. Some days I wonder if I'm human. I know, weird comment. Other people might wonder if they're good, but I was wondering if I was human.
I mean,
yeah, we're human. You all wonder that about me? At least if they're in this chat, they wonder whether I'm human or not. Interesting. Okay, fair. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like it's across the board.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, we're all human. That's why we're here. And we're here to learn what it's like to be human, right? So we just play at that. We play at being human, right?
We try.
We do our best and what we're doing and learn along the way. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that.
Well,
but thank you. Thank you, Maria.
We're here to have a human experience, right? We're here to have an experience of what it is to be all this. Right?
In our little meat suits.
And all that comes with that.
Mhm.
Right. And I think that that's a really fascinating thing too, because when you think about like the energy that we're in and the transits and everything else, and YT, you're saying what's coming up for you. Again, we're not doing readings, but this is coming through, so I'm gonna just say it. We get caught up in the mind and what the mind does in terms of making opinions about things. And the mind, it makes so many opinions because it has to categorize everything. It has to judge everything. It has to decide everything is good or bad or this or that or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is that we get caught up and we get rigid about those things. And it's, one of those things where we have to kind of take a step back and go, wait a minute. Just because my mind is saying this doesn't mean I even have to believe it. Even though it's coming from my mind, I still don't have to believe that to be true. Because the reality is our mind makes shit up all the time.
She said a word.
But it does, right? And we have to realize that the stuff that we have, humans like boxes. We're basically cats. Yep. If I fits, I sits. And it doesn't matter what the belief is, what the box is. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna put myself in this box, and if I fit, that's where I'm going to sit. And rarely do we get out and explore and see what else is possible. Right. And so, human school. And the more that we're able to not just get stuck in those parameters that our mind sets, the easier it is for us to navigate this world.
Mm-hmm. Well, and beautiful vastness of opportunities, right? When we can get out of our boxes, as much as that can be. Because again, our awesome fear gets in the way. I have to go out of a box. But what's out there?
Right. And how often is it, oh, there's another box. Okay, I'll jump out really quick and jump into that one.
Yeah. Then I don't, I don't have to worry about what everything else is around.
Mm-hmm. As Hypnicity says, they're like comfort zones.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We all like our comfort zones, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And so, just noticing, where are we right now? Like what am I resting in? And is what I'm resting in really serving me?
Our pleasure.
Welcome.
Yeah. And I think, we have to understand that there's a lot of change happening right now. Right. Mm-hmm. And so what we're sitting in may need to change because we're changing.
Mm-hmm.
As beings, we are changing. Like at a cellular level, we're changing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, like, when you think about how we're taught to be, how we're taught to think about ourselves, and then all of this stuff starts to come up about who we really are, spiritual beings having a human experience, right? What does that mean for us? Because it's really different. It totally pushes us out of our comfort zones into thinking about things in a different way. And I mean, are we in a matrix? What do you guys think? Are we in a matrix? Are we really doing all this physical stuff? What is this?
Maybe.
I don't know. Right? The unknown seems to be growing. Indeed. The unknown has always been big. We just didn't recognize it because we were in a box.
Yeah. Well, and noticing too, right? How much of the world, like we come in and we have no idea about anything, right? We have to learn how to eat. We have to learn how to, do everything. And then we start to learn. But from the very beginning, we're learning things that are being conditioned to us, right? And as we're learning how to be conditioned to this world, we're unlearning a lot about who we are and where we come from. Yeah. And so this whole process is, one that allows us to step fully into what it is to have a human experience, but that also causes a lot of suffering. And we have to understand that, our job, as we begin to understand that that is the reality and that we have all of this conditioning and everything else, we begin to unfold that, and then we open again to what we were, right? And then we have a whole new level of unlearning and relearning that we have to do as we decondition from everything that we've been taught up until that point.
Yeah, it's that spiral that we talk about, right? We come around to it again, but we're at a different angle. Oh, okay. And then we learn something new. Oh, somehow this part of my world feels different again. Why is that? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
It really is. It really is. Hydnicity is asking a question about star seeds and light workers, and actually, Kaylee put an answer. And I want to come back to a minute again. Like, here we go. Like, here's the mind, and it's not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but the mind that wants to categorize and put boxes and framework around things. And it's fine in order for us in the 3D to comprehend or understand what something is. But at the same time, how much of it is actually necessary, right? So yeah, star seeds, galactic origins, light workers, just tapping into that light, right? That universal energy. And so, yeah, we've got, different classifications for things and all of that. And even though they can have a purpose, right? I think the bigger piece in all of this is what feels correct for me, what resonates for me, what do I feel aligned with? And then I just honor that.
And so Kaylee says that's personal opinion for her. That's her truth in that, right? In that, that's what she believes they are. There is no right or wrong, right? It's always our belief.
Yeah.
And where do earth angels fit in?
Yeah. And earth angels can be a multitude of things, right? And so we might look at that and go, well, some star seeds are earth angels. Light workers can be earth angels. Angelic seeds, just like star seeds, can be earth angels, right? So it really is about how does this resonate for me? What feels aligned for me, and what is going to help me in my journey, right? And does having all of that kind of classified and everything else, does that help me or does that hinder me in my journey?
Does it limit our thought process in that, right? Yeah. And I mean, you can be more than one of those, right? Because your energy may have come through different places and stuff coming down. So like the monad, for instance, which is kind of our spiritual makeup, our spiritual grandparents sort of thing, spiritual origins. It's just where our energy comes through, as we're coming down before we come down. And so often that will be hybrids. Like I'm a hybrid, right? Because I have been through numerous different types of beings before I came here. So that energy has been through those experiences. That's what it is. But all of it's source energy. It's just that it comes through those experiences before they come. So when we say, whether we're light worker, star seed, earth angel, it's just we're just identifying the experience that we may have had before we came down here. Yeah. That's kind of how I feel. It's just kind of, it's saying, so yeah, we've had this kind of experience or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So we
and
try
again,
to,
like, Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, she spent most of her life trying to fit in. But who are you trying to fit in? Whose guidelines are you fitting into? What box are you trying to fit in? That would be the question.
Yeah.
And is it one that fits?
Well, and we also have to notice that like there's a gazillion different boxes out there, right? Like you talk about monad. Well, there's the monad, there's the Atman, there's the authentic self, there's the soul, there's the like it.
Yeah.
Which shining box light do you like, right? Like,
well, and they're just frameworks to explain what our understanding of all of it is. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, this idea of, you know, like all my life trying to fit in, you know, I would say how much time is spent trying to honor what is authentically you, right? And I know that this is going to be hard, but even family doesn't always honor what is authentically us, right? And that doesn't mean that we don't be that, but you know, I can, you know, speak to it too. Finding soul family is not the same all the time as blood family.
No, soul family can feel in many ways better because we resonate, right? I mean, I'm always incredibly grateful to have my soul family. You know, I'm grateful for my birth family too, but it's different. Right? It's different. Hey, Annie.
Hello,
thanks for joining us. And we have Rachel. Hello, Rachel.
Rachel.
And we have Annie Bear. Standing in light with Annie Bear. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you all. Oh my goodness, we've got lots of comments here coming up now.
Lots of people saying hi and greeting each other, which is wonderful.
Exactly. We do have some of the best chatters, right?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
Absolutely. I find my role changed matching the current situation in my life. Right now, caring for my mom, I feel I was born to help her. Who knows what life will bring after? Exactly. And it's about flowing with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's the beauty of not putting ourselves into a specific box, right? We can be this for now, and then we can be something else later. I mean, I don't know how many times I've talked to the fact that I feel like I have past lives within this lifetime, just because of different things were for me at different stages in my life.
It's true.
And how different a person I was at each of those stages in my life.
Yeah, that's true. I can certainly say that as well. You know, if you had asked me like 15 years ago if I would be doing this, I would have laughed at you.
We had our 3rd year anniversary. So if you'd asked me 4 years ago if I'd be doing
It's
this,
true.
I would have said no.
Well, pre-COVID, this was not on my radar, right? So that's how we like adapt. That's one of the beautiful things about being human, is that we can adapt and we can learn and we can, you know, oh, instead of going this way, I think I'll just go over here, because we have the ability to do that, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's such a beautiful thing too, like with this energy, that ability for farsightedness, for seeing what else is possible, for seeing, you know, what can come to be, right? And it's not even that we see it. Like, okay, yes, we could talk about the clairs, we could talk about how much we can see, we can talk about, you know, foresight and all
and
of that.
That's fun.
Yeah, for sure. Don't get me wrong, not negating any of that. But the idea is that the more open we are, the more we're able to see more things and more possibilities.
Yeah. We can open the box, right?
Yeah. Knock down the walls, knocking down. Sorry, knocking down.
Yes, we are incredibly grateful to have all of you as well. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Community. You guys are what makes it possible, right? Like Tanys and I talk about that all the time, because even just that idea of like, 4 years ago wouldn't be here. I got to say, if it wasn't for you guys, still wouldn't be here. Right? Like,
Exactly.
it's what makes it such a joy to do this, is to know that we're going to get on and we're going to have all of you to talk to, and to see even you guys holding space for one another and everything else. Like, that just lights up my world.
Me too. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kaylee says, I agree, Jen. I've looked at pictures of myself from 11 years ago. Don't even recognize her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Be careful what you wish for. Pandora's box is rattling. Yeah, well, whatever it is. I mean, that's the other thing. No matter what's coming, if you have somebody to share it with, like a community, then we can do anything.
Yeah, and we can get through anything.
Yeah. We just need each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And really that, I get how scary it can be, especially with things that are going on. And how do we hold space for anything that could be coming through? And I think that the more that we're able to notice that our roles, especially if we're here as light workers and star seeds and earth angels and all of that, our role is not specifically to keep the peace. Our role is to bring light and love. And let's remember, love is not squishy. It's strong,
tough,
and it can be really tough. And there are times where, having that love and holding space for that, it hits all of our buttons, and it might hit all the person we're loving's buttons. Right? But if we love, then we're going to hold space for that. And that's a lot harder. And we need to be a whole heck of a lot stronger to be able to hold space for that than to be able to just kind of go, yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm. There's a difference between whatever and allowing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
That's cute.
We're having a little moment there.
There's guys, a mom and daughter moment in the audience there.
You guys are fantastic.
Very nice. Very nice. Awesome.
We got our 5-minute warning there.
We do. Are we going to do some home play? Mm-hmm. We do our home play. I would say majority of our days we do home play. So let's see what the home play is for today. What do we all need, Spirit? What do we need?
There's a poem I did years ago about this work and like who we are and what that means, and I don't know why, but they're telling me read it, so I'm just gonna read it for you guys. So take it for for what it
absolutely is. We just do what we're told, folks, for the most part.
Yeah. It's called I Am. I am a bridge and a doorway, a tunnel and a light. I am a harbinger and an explosion, a sweeper of the night. I am a shaman and a teacher, a priestess of truth. I am a herald and a helper, a message, aloof. I am a dervish and a wanderer, a lover of the divine. I am a servant and a wretch, a nothingness sublime. I am whatever I am called to be, a moldable tool. I am nothing of my own doing, a thought to make me a fool. I am simply a reflection, an unencumbered soul. I am but a drop in the vast ocean, a part and yet the whole.
Beautiful.
We can be all of those things, and we need to be all of that. And, that is that love and that strength and that ability to hold space and everything that we're being called for, right, as we move forward. So what is our home play? Plant a seed.
Oh, I think you just did. You just did. You planted a seed with people with your poem.
Oh,
Yeah, because Amy says so beautiful.
oh, thank you. All right. So here we go.
Plant a
Plant
seed.
a seed. An idea is trying to be born, grandchild. Enter the realm of the sacred feminine and plant that seed. Every good gardener knows that planting a seed is the first step in creating fruit, and every seed knows when to sprout. Is your garden ready? Like the perfection found in Mother Earth's garden, your soil must be nourished and thawed and warmed by Grandfather Sun after a cold spell. Hold that seed in your hand, and as you place it in the soil, let it show you its sacred nature. Plant that seed knowing that all... Is it doing...
It's doing a thumbs down automatically because I don't know why. But...
Hold on. Let me do this. Or I can do it. There we go. There we go.
It's not a thumbs down, folks. Just so you know. Just your computer playing tricks. Okay.
Oh, golly, where was I? Okay, plant that seed knowing that all of creation supports its growth, for that is the sacred law. Plant your fruitful idea. Your mind is like the soil. When it is open and nourished, it receives wisdom from the spirit realm. A mind without careful tending is like a garden overrun by weeds. Good ideas that bring you in alignment with spirit cannot take root in a mind filled with fear and distraction. Tend to the weeds in your mind and let your idea show you its sacred nature. Know that all creation supports its growth.
Beautiful. We planted seeds today.
Yay.
Yes. On the show, and we planted seeds with each other before the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's what came to mind. So we've been talking about a new program. So we'll share when time is right, which is not right now, thank you. But stay tuned.
And you say I'm bad for that.
You have to keep them guessing. Isn't that part of what we're supposed to do?
Yes, most definitely.
We have a plan. Yes. Yes, it will likely be something that you're interested in, Kaylee. What have you got going on this week, Jen?
Oh golly, this week I think this is it for this week. Yeah, this is it for this week, and I got nothing coming up before next Monday. So,
all right. So for those of you that are in town, I do have a Reiki share happening on Friday at 7:30. So if you're interested in coming to that, please check out the website. It's on the website. And I do have a podcast with My Place Home Care this week. And we're talking about all sorts of interesting things this week. So it'll be fun to stop in there. And then, of course, we have this next week.
mm-hmm.
On Monday.
And for those who have checked out the support groups, we have a new one starting. So beyondbeinghuman.org/support-groups. And there's a new one with Rob Kirby. And that's going to be starting the 27th, I believe. Go to the website and you'll find out for sure. But remember, the support groups are all free, donations welcome, but they're free to join and attend. And we just want to build safe spaces for people on this journey to talk to one another and hold space for each other. And
absolutely. And our next one is April 19th, Saturday at 7:30. So you're welcome to sign up for that while you're there. And yeah. And that's it for this week, I think. Busy week with clients this week for me.
Yeah.
So we are sending you all tons of love. And we're just sending love and light. I don't even know what else to say today because it's just a day. So,
love and light. Need hold.
Thank you.
Giggle. Giggle.
Giggle. We do a lot of that. We do a lot of that. We like to giggle here.
Yeah.
Giggle is a good thing. Mm-hmm. Hi, Shem. Thanks for joining us. Lots of love to you as well. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned, and we shall see you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you know when we're on next, because we do have a few things coming up over the next few weeks. And you never know. You never know what we might just,
we just might pop on randomly and be like, hey,
we just might.
What are you doing?
We just might. So, if you like and subscribe, then you might actually catch us there. And don't forget to check out the membership page too, because we will be putting up some new readings soon for next month. And we put some on YouTube, and then the rest of them go on the membership page. It's free to join. So come on and join.
Yeah, like and subscribe. You'll know when the 6-card reading is up on YouTube.
Yep.
Get your full 22 cards in total reading.
Yeah.
On the membership page every month,
as well as all sorts of resources and stuff there too, which is growing. We try and add stuff, over time. So we're building it up more. And so hope to see you there. We love you all. Thank you for joining us, because like Jen said, we couldn't do it without you. And so thank you so much for everything. And we shall see you next week. Have an awesome one. Bye now.